8:45. This is the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. The news edited by J. Yogaraj and read by Lavani Vijayatunga. First, we take a look at the headlines. Interprovincial travel restrictions further tightened. Possession of the vaccination card to be made mandatory in public places. Special meeting of party leaders on Monday. Officials directed to pay special attention to senior citizens with long-term illnesses. The ministerial subcommittee appointed to look into the salary anomalies of the teachers and the principals has commenced its work today. Sri Lanka Railways announces that it has incurred a loss of 300 million rupees due to the token strike launched by the railway station masters. The ongoing mega reservoir construction, with the support of the local engineers, has been identified as the 6th mega water distribution project across the Malwatu Oya. And in COVID news, 2,382 new infections detected so far today. Recoveries tally moves up as 2,173 patients regain health. In news overseas, panic and disbelief as thousands flee Taliban onslaught. And in sports news, Virgin van Dijk, Liverpool defender signs deal until 2025. Those were the headlines, and now more to the details of the local news. Army Commander General Shavendra Silva says that interprovincial travel restrictions will be further strengthened from midnight tonight. He stated this while announcing the decision taken today during the meeting of the Presidential Task Force on COVID-19 control under the patronage of President Gotabaya Rajapaksa. The Army Commander said that travelling between provinces will be completely prohibited from midnight today in order to control the spread of COVID-19, and that the interprovincial public transport services will also be suspended. He said that only those in the banking, agricultural, apparel and tourism sectors, as well as those engaged in essential services, including healthcare, ports and airport, will be allowed to travel between the provinces. The Army Commander further said that with effect from September 15th, people visiting public places are urged to carry their vaccination cards fully vaccinated with them, as it will be checked. Persons without the vaccination cards confirming that they have received both doses of vaccine will not be permitted to enter public places. A special meeting of political party leaders has been scheduled for Monday, the 16th of August, on the request of the Leader of the House, Minister Dinesh Gunawardena. Chaired by the Speaker Mahindaya Abeyewardena, the meeting will take place at the Parliament complex. Minister Gunawardena, speaking in this regard, said he decided to call for a special party leaders meeting to discuss the prevailing COVID-19 situation in the country. Meanwhile, the Parliament is scheduled to convene from Tuesday, the 17th August to Friday, the 20th of August. The ministerial subcommittee appointed to look into the salary anomalies of the teachers and principals has commenced its work today officially. The first meeting was held at the official residence of Minister Vimal Veeravansa. The committee met with the representatives of the Sri Lanka Podujana Education Services Association today. The members stated that the Subudini report could be considered as a long-term solution to this problem. General Manager of Sri Lanka Railways, Dhammika Jayasundara, said that Sri Lanka Railways has incurred a loss of 300 million rupees due to the token strike launched by the railway station masters. The Railways Department was able to deploy limited amount of trains amidst the strike and other interruptions, the General Manager added. The department lost a major income when compared to daily turnover. This is the news from the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation.
Get a personal loan for your marriage, education or housing within 24 hours with People's Bank Digital Banking.
And we continue with more local news. State Minister Dhumida Disanayake says that the ongoing mega reservoir construction, with the support of the local engineers, has been identified as the 6th mega water distribution project across the Malwatu Oya Dam. The State Minister made these remarks while making an observation tour to the construction site today. The project will provide irrigation facilities to Anuradhapura, Vavuniya and Mannar cultivators, he added. As many as 2,382 persons have tested positive for coronavirus so far today, the Ministry of Health confirmed. All new cases are associated with the New Year COVID-19 cluster. The new development brings the total number of COVID-19 cases confirmed in the country thus far to 347,500. At present, more than 37,000 virus-infected patients are being treated at hospitals and treatment centres across the island. The tally of total recoveries reached 304,628 today, as 2,173 more patients were discharged after returning to health. Meanwhile, the death toll soared to 5,620 after a record high of 156 victims were confirmed yesterday. Specialist Dr. Upal Disanayake said that although the hospital facilities were sufficient in the first phase of the pandemic, the hospitals faced shortage and lack facilities when considering the present development of the situation. Therefore, he requested the government to be vigilant on the current situation and take effective measures to control the situation before it is too late. Dr. Disanayake also expressed his views with regard to the patients receiving treatment from their respective homes. Meanwhile, Sri Lanka Army continued with the vaccination drive today at selected locations in the Western Province, including Colombo. Individuals over the age of 30 can walk into any of the nearest centre tomorrow or the day after and get the vaccine. The Sinopharm vaccine is provided to the public at these centres. The body of the underage housemaid who died at the residence of former Minister Rishad Baluddin has been handed over to the parents of the deceased after obtaining the report of the second post-mortem. The report has been submitted to the CID and the officials of the Attorney General's Department for further investigation purpose. And to conclude the local news, the headlines once again. Inter-provincial travel restrictions further tightened. Possession of the vaccination cards to be made mandatory in public places. Special meeting of party leaders on Monday. Officials directed to pay special attention to senior citizens with long-term illnesses. The ministerial subcommittee appointed to look into the salary anomalies of the teachers and principals has commenced its work today. Sri Lanka Railways incurred a loss of 300 million rupees due to the token strike launched by the railway station masters. The ongoing mega reservoir construction with the support of the local engineers has been identified as the 6th mega water distribution project across the Malwa to Oya. In COVID years, 2,382 new infections detected today so far, and the recovery tally moves up as 2,173 patients regain health. And that was the local news.
Get a personal loan for your marriage, education or housing within 24 hours with People's Bank Digital Banking. People's Bank Digital Banking, your ultimate convenience.
The main news story is brought to you by Siddhalepa Veda Mahatmya.
The main news story for tonight, President Gotabaya Rajapaksa has informed health officials to pay special attention to the people above the age of 60 and are suffering from chronic and non-communicable diseases. A study carried out into the deaths reported during the last few days has revealed that the majority of them were from the Western Province. It has been identified that a higher percentage of this group were persons aged over 60 years who suffered from non-communicable diseases and have not been vaccinated against COVID-19. And that was the main news story.
The main news story was brought to you by Siddhalepa Veda Mahatmya.
And in Watchlight tonight, police have provided a telephone number for the general public to report information regarding any activities related to child labour in the city of Colombo or suburbs. Police spokesman Senior DIG Ajit Rohana said a special operation was initiated recently in the city of Colombo and the suburb areas in the Western Province to nab offenders. He said if the public have any information in respect of child labour, they are requested to provide such information to the Colombo Emergency Centre via its telephone number 0112-433-333. That came to you in Watchlight, and now we move on to the headlines of the world news. Panic and disbelief as thousands flee Taliban onslaught. Global supply fears as China partly shuts major port. Turkey floods, death toll near the Black Sea rises to 27. Those are the headlines, and now more to the details of the world news. The UN has urged Afghanistan's neighbors to keep their borders open as the number of civilians fleeing the Taliban onslaught swells. Thousands of those internally displaced have been arriving in Kabul, seeing the capital as their first and the last safe refuge. Food shortage dire, the World Food Programme said. It warned of humanitarian catastrophe. Today, the Taliban seized the country's second largest city, Kandahar, the second and the latest provincial capital to fall. The partial closure of China's biggest cargo ports due to coronavirus has raised fresh concerns about the impact on global trade. Services were shut on Wednesday at a terminal at the Ningbo Zhujiang port where a worker was infected with the Delta variant of COVID-19. Ningbo Zhujiang is East China is the world's third busiest cargo port. The closure threatens more disruptions to supply chain ahead of key Christmas shopping season. A huge search and rescue operation is underway in northern Turkey after flash floods along the Black Sea coast killed at least 27 people. Kastamonu province is the worst hit area, accounting for 25 of the deaths. 2 others died in Sinop in the coast. The floods caused some buildings to collapse, smashed several bridges, clogged some streets with wrecked cars and power supplies. And to conclude the world news, the headlines once again. Panic and disbelief as thousands flee Taliban onslaught. Global supply fears as China partly shuts major ports. Turkey floods, death toll near Black Sea rises to 27. And that was the world news.
Development News is brought to you by
Quality matters than price. So as an engineer, I recommend Melba RB500. It's made with virgin billets using the latest technology. Melba RB500, number 1 in Sri Lanka. Truly Sri Lankan.
Win lakhs and lakhs with CIB Janajaya. 40% discount for your bills till 15th of August. 6 hand tractors at the Grand Row. CIB Janajaya.
And in development news, for the years leading up to COVID-19 and Sri Lanka's first lockdown, tech skills have been in shortage. Employers have continuously been looking for specialized skills across IT to keep up with the transformation and innovation. The skills shortage has driven upskilling, encouragement for students to choose tech as a field of study, and employers to look for overseas talent. Sri Lanka's tech community has never been in larger or indeed most diverse, with career development not just possible but practically requiring to support the breadth of technological needs across industries. That came to you in the segment of Development News.
Development News was brought to you by
Quality matters than price. So as an engineer, I recommend Melba RB500. It's made with virgin billets using the latest technology. Melba RB500, number 1 in Sri Lanka. Truly Sri Lankan.
Win lakhs and lakhs with CIB Janajaya. 40% discount for your bills till 15th of August. 6 hand tractors at the Grand Row. CIB Janajaya.
Moving on to sports news, Liverpool defender Virgil van Dijk has extended his contract with the club until the summer of 2025. The 30-year-old, who was under contract until 2023, follows Trent Alexander-Arnold, Fabinho and Alisson in signing new deals with the club this summer. He played just 5 league games last season as he suffered from an anterior cruciate ligament injury in October. Van Dijk, who resumed playing in pre-season, said he was delighted, very happy and proud to sign a new deal. That was the sports news. Business news coming up.
Contributory deposit of 1,000 rupees from NSB when your child enters grade 1. Open a Hapan Children's Service account for your kid today. Higher interest. Conditions apply. Business news. Sponsored by National Savings Bank. The safest place for your money.
In business news, Nations Trust Bank continued to demonstrate its resilience in performance during the year. The loan portfolio increased by 26 billion rupees, recording a 12% growth during the first 6 months of the year, despite the challenging business environment. That was the business news. Economic news follows.
Business news. Sponsored by National Savings Bank. The safest place for your money. Contributory deposit of 1,000 rupees from NSB when your child enters grade 1. Open a Hapan Children's Service account for your kid today. Higher interest. Conditions apply.
And And in economic news, Sri Lanka Tourism Development Authority, with the support from Market Development Facility, Australia's flagship private sector development program, has launched a membership drive to encourage informal sector tourism operators to register with SLTDA. The membership drive was launched recently with a trilingual video series featuring celebrated cricket legend Kumar Sangakkara. That was economic news and the weather report to conclude.
Weather report was sponsored by
Dialogue, in partnership with the Ministry of Education, introduces Nanasa, a trilingual educational mobile app with video-based lessons for grade 1 to A-levels. Now your child can study with ease on your mobile with no subscription fee.
And finally, the weather report, the Met Department says several spells of showers will occur in the western, Sabaragamuwa, central and northwestern provinces and in the Galle and Mathura districts. Showers or thunder showers will occur at several places elsewhere after 2 p.m. Fairly heavy showers, about 50 millimeters, can be expected at some places in these areas. General public is kindly requested to take adequate precautions to minimize damages caused by temporary localized strong winds and lightning during thunder showers. This weather report was published this evening at 7:30 p.m. Further details could be obtained by visiting the official website of the department. Meanwhile, the international weather forecast website AccuWeather.com predicts that Colombo weather would generally be fair in the night. Today's daytime temperature was observed around 30 degrees Celsius. There will be light showers in many places in the Colombo district in the night. Tonight's temperature will be around 27 degrees Celsius and there will be scattered showers in selected spots late in the night. The ground temperature would be around 29 degrees Celsius at the time of this news broadcast. The air quality index AQI is 22, which shows a fair condition in Colombo. The air quality is generally acceptable for most individuals. However, sensitive groups may experience minor to moderate symptoms for long-term exposure. And that was the weather report.
Weather report was sponsored by
Dialogue, in partnership with the Ministry of Education, introduces Nanasa, a trilingual educational mobile app with video-based lessons for grade 1 to A-levels. Now your child can study with ease on your mobile with no subscription fee.
And before we conclude this bulletin of news, let's get back to the headlines once again. Interprovincial travel restrictions further tightened. Possession of the vaccination card to be made mandatory in public places. Special meeting of party leaders on Monday. Officials directed to pay special attention to senior citizens with long-term illnesses. The ministerial subcommittee appointed to look into the salary anomalies of the teachers and principals has commenced its work today. Sri Lanka Railways incurred a loss of 300 million rupees due to the token strike lodged by the railway station masters. The ongoing mega reservoir construction, with the support of the local engineers, has been identified as the 6th mega water distribution project across the Malwatu Oya. In COVID news, 2,382 new infections detected so far today, and recovery tallies move up as 2,173 patients regain health. And in news overseas, panic and disbelief as thousands flee Taliban onslaught. And in sports news, Virgil van Dijk, Liverpool defender, signs deal until 2025. And with that, we conclude this bulletin of news. And now it's back to your Friday evening host, my good friend Mario, on the other side of the glass panel to keep you entertained.